Yeah, the you took a look at the website actually. There are quite a lot of people who don't, and then I need to tell them everything. But obviously, you know what this is about, I guess. Just flying the Orient Express route. Yeah, sure, but yeah. Nah, that's not a big deal. Just so you know what this tour is actually about, because some people just join in. That's fine, no problem. But I like it if people know what we're actually doing here. I mean, group flights are cool, but there is some idea or story or theme behind it. So it's nice if people read up front what the basic idea is. And you did do that. That's excellent. So I am going to wait, let's say 3 to 4 more minutes, but I'm gonna have to start up this plane anyway, so it takes a minute. I'm flying a Kodiak 100. That's an add-on plane, so I'm not sure what kind of plane you're seeing, what I'm flying, but it might be something like a Grand Caravan. Oh dear. Okay. Well, that's not too bad. It's not too far away. You look like a Baron. Baron G58, I would say. Okay. Excellent. Okay. So you've never been using a headset before? At least not in this kind of environment. Okay, I see. Okay. So that's the first time. Dude, that's amazing. Thank you so much that you chose my little endeavor here to try something like this. Yes, it does usually. I've never really had many problems with Discord. Sometimes it's if you want to do something like streaming on it, it can become unresponsive, but the actual voice part is always working. I've never had any kind of downtime, so it may. I mean, it belongs to Google, so they do have the infrastructure, but they also get all the data. You need to be aware of that. All right, so let's see. Yeah, I think we can line up here on the runway. The last leg that we did on this tour, that was pretty amazing because first of all, the weather was not. Oh, by the way, we're looking at a time here. I'm going to change the local time to morning usually because this is a tour about sightseeing. I'm always using live weather, but I am going to change the weather to, like, I don't know, 8 a.m., 8 in the morning, so I'm going to be able to see something from the pretty landscape here. Yeah, sure. Okay. Excellent. That's no problem. You can do whatever you like. Absolutely. Yes, you can. We can do as much flying as we want to, maybe an hour, maybe two. It really depends. I mean, if you need to leave earlier, that's not not a big problem. We can just find a suitable landing spot somewhere. How much time do you have? Same? 2 hours, okay. That's quite a lot. So the first, I think the first, you can just follow along if you want to. We've got a couple of waypoints that we can follow. I mean, looking at the map, the entire route isn't very long. Looking with the kind of planes that we are flying, it's not. That's actually the third. I think the third leg that we're gonna fly, and the first one took us from Paris to somewhere in Switzerland, Lausanne, and then there was Venezia, and after that, I think, I'm not sure how far we're going to get tonight, but this tour is not going to be very long. So, a line up runway 05, I guess, because there's not a whole lot of wind here. No, I think the 05 is the end that we're looking at. That it's not the far end, it's the one right here. I have a Kodiak. This one, this thing can basically roll up a mountain. It's not this thing. I'm doing all kinds of stuff with it. It's really a fun plane to fly. Although it was made for 2020, it works quite well. A couple of things that don't work, for example, the electronic flight book. That one is broken in the Kodiak. Yeah, that's one of the things that this is the bug, basically. There's not a whole lot that we can do about it. But I happen to have, we've got nose wheel who look like tail draggers and stuff like that. It's something like this happens all the time during the multiplayer tours. We're going to fly pretty low, I think, because otherwise we're not going to see the nice scenery here. Like maybe 2,000 feet initially. Around 150 knots, I think the Baron should be able to do that. Maybe a little bit slower so it's easier for you to catch up, or just adjust to the situation. So we're going to turn left to a heading of, initially to a heading, let's say, of 0 degrees to the north first. You mean your engine sounds or something like that? No, I cannot hear that. And that's all right, because I'm not supposed to be listening to your plane. So let's see. I'm going to fly heading. Okay. At an altitude of 2,000 feet, please. There we go. Yes, I did. Actually, when we flew over here, we made a couple of circuits over Venice just to. But you're very welcome to take a look at it if you want to. I'm gonna follow. Okay. I didn't see it in real life, unfortunately. I've been in Italy a couple of times, but never in Venice. Yes, please. Yes. Yeah, something isn't right here with my plane currently. I need to activate the autopilot. Yes, 2,000 feet into the north initially, and then we're just going to follow there's a route with waypoints and all that. I'm still trying to get to grips. I've bought an alpha yoke, but I'm still trying to get used to the way the autopilot handles on the throttle quadrant. It's a little bit. It needs some getting used to. Yeah, because you have to switch between the different modes, and I wasn't able to put that into my muscle memory yet.
It's hard to see which position it is in. So you have to do it by
Exactly. And my room is usually, when I fly, it's usually dark outside, or not exactly daylight anymore, and I don't have lights from behind me, so I cannot see the labels of the buttons. Which, yeah, so I have to remember which one is doing what.
but you get used to it after a while.
Yeah, usually I only use the heading, the altitude, the vertical speed, and maybe sometimes the nav mode, of course. But everything else, I don't need to remember. These are the most used buttons anyway. So
This is Claymore. You know it?
Laymore kick, no.
What? 1 o'clock?
1 o'clock. Let me see. No, I don't know him. Do you?
I don't know.
Okay.
What is when they
So where, if I may ask, where from the Netherlands are you? Which city? Haarlem.
Amsterdam, yeah, close
Ha-
to Amsterdam.
oh, okay, Amsterdam. Then at least I have general direction.
Yeah. Where do you live?
Germany, obviously, but I'm from Bavaria. You know Nuremberg. Okay, so the city that I'm living in is Bayreuth, which is about, I think, 80 kilometers north of Nuremberg.
Okay.
It's one of those. The both cities are connected by a highway, the Autobahn number 9, A9, which is one of those north-south axes where you can see lots of people driving, and sometimes there are also people from the Netherlands. But usually they are going to the west, more than to the north.
Okay. What speed are you flying now?
Right now it's 135.
Your braking again interfering there, I think.
A little bit, yes. So, but we're gonna turn right pretty soon because we want to follow the route. And let me take a look at the map here. Portuguaro. Yeah, we're gonna fly a heading of let's say. I have to take a look here. Oh, dude. After Sim Update 2, something happened with the bugs, with the heading bugs, with the buttons where you turn. They have become slower. I don't know exactly what happened, but it's not the same as before. Let's fly to a heading of 070 to the right. So let's see. Uh, Go ahead. Yes, there's some kind of acceleration going on in there, but it was more predictable before the sim update. It worked quite well, but now it's very slow in the beginning, and if you start to turn it more quickly, then it accelerates at a rate that does not make any sense. So it's a lot more difficult to use right now. It was exactly, yes. The you can. I was able to really pinpoint the exact time when it changed. That was the sim update. I mean, I'm using. I'm not sure if you are you using the trim wheel from the throttle quadrant. Do you use some third party software to make it work more easily or quicker? Because we have this same kind of problem. Mm-hmm. Okay, excellent. Okay. I'm using SimTrim. That's a software that basically accelerates. I mean, this is the trim wheel is something that simulates button presses, right? It's not an axis, but it's simulating button presses. And for example, in the Kodiak here, I have to really accelerate the amount of or increase the amount of button presses because otherwise the trim wheel in the sim will move so slowly that it just doesn't make any sense to use it. So I do need add-on software, unfortunately. But yeah, that's true. Yes, that does make sense. That works quite well, but it still took I don't know how many revolutions to actually go from I don't know take off trim to somewhere in the middle. I would have had to turn the trim wheel like 5 or 6 times entirely, 360 rotation, and that's just too much. Yes, it does work. So let's have what's his name? Are you using say intentions by the way? Okay. That is a that's a. Are you using VetSim, the ATC wet? Okay. What Say Intentions does basically it's an AI powered ATC system. What it does is you can have some kind of conversation uh, with I don't know what exactly they have behind all of that. Do you know the concept of large language models? Something like ChatGPT. Yeah, do you have an idea about it? How it works? Okay. Okay. So basically, what happens is that you're using a software which you can talk to. It's able to recognize your speech, and then it's going to generate voice. It's using an ATC system in the background, and it's generating voice, so you can kind of interact with a software system that is able to direct you. It's basically a simulation of ATC of a real ATC. Network, and there it works quite well even for VFR if it's not a planned flight. So and you have an additional. there are some additional features like tour guides. And what you can do is that you can activate some kind of guys, or funny voices, or more professional voices and stuff like that. So you can have a tour guide make comments on where you're flying. They're going to tell you about some of the highlights around you and pick up some point of interests and tell a story or something like that. So yes, exactly. That's him. That's Two-Tone Murphy. So that's the system, but it's pretty expensive, really, and I'm not using it constantly because it's also a distraction. If you're doing group flights like this and someone's constantly babbling, then it's also a little bit of a distraction.
I find that it talks a lot because it doesn't say too much.
That's true. There's not a whole lot there.
Too much information.
Nah, not really. Yeah, I mean, it's basically what it's a system that's based on these large language models and the something like ChatGPT. So it can tell you a lot about the world, but if you
At our 1 o'clock, about
oh,
4
there we go.
kilometres away, we have a lovely sight
Murphy
to
starts to
behold. It's
talk.
the
I need to
beautiful
turn him
Piave
off.
River, known as the River of the People. This river has been flowing since time immemorial.
Stop
And it
right
played a
there.
crucial
Stop it. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's basically got the. I think they're using this the OpenAI platform, the system that's behind ChatGPT, at least for the knowledge part. But yes, the actual the amount of knowledge that is going to be transferred to the listener is limited. So
Yeah, that's right. It's a gimmick.
it's a gimmick, absolutely, and that's not the real reason why you would use that software. It's more it's about the ATC part, really, and if you're looking to. It's quite immersive if you have a little bit of knowledge about about aviation phraseology. So if you're able to talk to the system in a proper manner, then it's going to give you proper answers. So that's interesting. It's quite fun.
Do we turn right to follow the magenta?
Yes, of course we can. I'm not following the exact route. I'm just, but we can do that. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
So
Went to the trouble to load the flight plan, so
yeah, I'm glad it works for you because if I try to do that, my simulator crashes. The reason for this is that my Kodiak, the plane that I'm using, it's not entirely compatible to the electronic flight book stuff. So whenever I try to load a flight plan, the simulator basically freezes, especially if there are many waypoints in it, like in this flight plan. But it does work for the default plane, so you're not having any problem there. I know that, but the legacy planes from 2020, that most of them don't work with the EFB, unfortunately. I'm looking forward very much to the 2024 version of the Kodiak. They already have it in development, but it's they're taking their time.
everything was functioning on the first time.
Oh yes, absolutely. But it was the same for 2020. It took a couple of months until that was a halfway decently stable platform. So 2024 is even more complex. It might take even longer.
It certainly will take longer.
Mm.
That's part of the work.
Absolutely, yes. But I still, there's nothing like it. I mean, if you look at the landscape and all that, there's nothing that can compare to the Microsoft stuff. Unfortunately, I don't really like Microsoft as a company, and most of the products are shit. But the flight simulator is actually pretty cool.
Yeah. No problem. I'll do that. I
Hmm. When it comes to the center, yes, exactly. When it comes to the, yeah. Well, DCS is pretty decent, but it doesn't have the same kind of topography and all that.
Different focus conditions.
Exactly, exactly. And I explained 12. I mean, this is a very small team, and they probably don't have the same resources, or they don't want to invest that much into the same kind of infrastructure that you need to display all the satellite imagery and all that photogrammetry stuff. I think I would really prefer to use X-Plane if it wasn't for the maps. I like X-Plane very much. I have 12 as well. I've had it since, I think, version 9. I bought each one of them. But I always come back to the Microsoft stuff because the landscape is just so much better, unfortunately.
I agree. Same here. I buy it as a component. Both of them support
Exactly. Yes.
upload them to the
Mm-hmm. There's... Hmm?
try it once or twice and then
Yes, exactly. I think that's the same for many people out there. But I really look forward to the day when they're going to be able to put in some proper landscape. I'm not sure. It's difficult because the sheer amount of data that you need to have a display like this, it's probably beyond what they can do with their current infrastructure. But that's a pity. Exactly. Yes. Hmm. Exactly. Yes. Or maybe Apple. I don't know what else there might be in the way of satellite imagery, but I think Microsoft, Bing, and Google are pretty much the best options out there right now. Yep, they definitely. Go ahead.
It's getting dark outside.
Okay. Yeah.
I need to just do that.
Okay. You can do that in flight. You know that? Okay. It's nice weather here.
Friday.
Yeah, it's almost. There's very little scattered clouds here. It's excellent excellent weather for flying. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's not raining, and it's warm. We don't even eat pedo. That's true. So the next city up ahead is Trieste. We're just going to follow the coastline here a little bit. And after that, I mean, one of the reasons, or one of the things that we like to do on this tour is follow the railways, because that was the original idea here, to follow the Orient Express railway. So it is below us on my 9 o'clock down there, so I can still see it. Excellent. It's going to Trieste, and after that, it will go up. It will go back to. No, we've passed the Alps already, so it's going to go to the Balkan area, I would say. Yes, we do, because I mean, we're trying to replicate the The only thing that I'm missing here on my plane is I'm not sure what it's called in English, but uh, the holy cow, the the cars, the train cars that have a restaurant in them. We don't have no catering. I don't have any catering on my plane. There's an empty cargo area. I should have put in a kitchen here and a toilet. There's a raceway down here. Italy is such a nice country, really. I don't like driving cars there because it is stressful, but the landscape and all that is beautiful. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, yes. I mean, the interesting part is once you get to the bigger cities and inside the cities, when you're going to have a lot of traffic, then it is quite a bit more stressful because from my experience, the Italians are quite aggressive drivers, really. Excuse me? Yeah, with German license plates, of course. And they saw that and probably they thought, we're going to give this guy a lesson. Now, I have when we drive around Europe, then we usually do it with I have a camper van. And I mean, it's not the most nimble of cars that you can have. So if most probably yes. And they see another goddamn tourist. He's only getting in the way. That is oh, that is Trieste, and it's called a Ronci del Legionari, something like that. It looks so it looks so real. Look at these houses down there. This is something that I cannot get over. And I was flying over England the other day, taking on over the countryside, and the most of the buildings that you can see, they really fit in very nicely. They look absolutely realistic. In England, you have these on the countryside. You have these kind of stone houses and all these little stone walls everywhere, and they're there, and it looks so fantastically realistic. And it's the same for Italy. You have these buildings with a certain color. You know what I mean? The I'm not sure what it's called, but the beige color. This typically Italian like buildings, terracotta exactly, and that's just really really good. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's an entirely different thing. Yes. Absolutely, that's true. But That's right.
It's I there's a I live in a row of houses.
Mm-hmm.
My house is the only garden with a tree in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the tree is very responsible. It is. It's garden by nature. It's not my garden.
That's he's mocking you. The flight simulator is mocking you. No, really, you're absolutely right. I have the pretty much the same problem. I'm also living in a row of houses, and I can see my house. It looks pretty. The location and the general look of it is right, but it doesn't my own house has a flat roof with stones on it, and the one that's being generated in the flight simulator, it has some kind of I'm not sure, the houses that are looking like triangles. I'm not sure what it's called in English, but you know what I mean. Not flat roofs, but the ones that are slanted roofs, exactly. And also the some of the satellite imagery that they're using there is not exactly right, but the general impression still fits. So if you're looking at the roads and the woods and everything, it looks pretty real. So and I don't really care if it's perfectly realistic, but what counts for me is the overall impression that I get, and that is pretty good. That I can get a feel for the country or for the landscape that I'm looking at.
That is quite super practical. But I expect too much.
Yes,
People
you do. Yeah, sure. Yeah, treetop is but it's become better, really. Looking at it's still not perfect. It's far from perfect, but it's good enough that it looks nice and you can have some fun with it. So, um, but yes, there is a lack of obviously there needs to be a lack because I cannot possibly imagine how they would solve that kind of problem to have everything exactly look the same because the sheer amount of data that they would need for this that's completely
it's not possible.
not right now at least. Google is pretty close looking at the way they are photographing. I mean the Google Street View stuff, you can make a lot from that, I guess, but it's also a huge amount of data.
You get all that data and use it too.
Absolutely, yes. So where's the railroad? It's on my 1 o'clock, I think. Mm-hmm.
Three, what is it? 32,
Mm-hmm.
and then 7 o'clock is the railroad.
Okay. There's a nice city of Trieste. I've never been there. The only places that I've been. Yeah, go ahead.
It's it's a disaster there.
Is it? Let me take a look at the map. Well, it says Trieste on little nav map,
Okay.
but I'm not sure. Yeah, okay.
It's out north of the south.
Yeah, there's Pula, and then we have Rijeka. Rijeka.
Uninformed country for sure. That's
No,
how.
no big deal. No, Trieste, and right now at the when the city starts, we're gonna turn left and follow the railroad, right?
Yep.
Trieste Centrale. There's there seems to be a huge what's it called? A railroad station down there. I'm going to turn off the autopilot and take a quick look at the city, because it's always nice to make a quick circuit on these cities. Yes, that's quite a big railroad station down there. And there seems to be a port. And some of these massive buildings here, these big buildings inside the city center. From the air, it looks pretty realistic, or it looks like something that might be that could be there. It kind of looks Italian. I'm not sure how to explain this. It kind of looks Italian, but on the other hand, it's okay, yeah. Das stimmt. That stimmt. Are you actually able to speak German? I'm not going to do that because we've got viewers who cannot speak German, but it's nice to know that you understand if I fall back to a different language. Excellent. There is a football stadium down there, huh? Or something like that. It's pretty crowded here. There is oh yes, there's another football stadium up there on the hill. And many of these houses there, it looks a bit like the 7 hills of Rome here. Or how many hills does Rome have? 9? 7? 8. Okay, somewhere in the middle. So, yeah. It's nice because the guys on top of the hill, they have an awesome view, I would say. Okay, let's continue to follow the railroad here. I'm going to go back to autopilot. Oh dear God, that goddamn heading bug. It turns so slowly. There is a special way you have to treat this. If you turn it too quickly, it's not going to work. If you turn it too slowly, then it takes forever. And you've got to find some middle ground. I don't know. It's very weird. It didn't used to be like this. Mm-hmm, exactly. I am in the east, probably. Yeah, that's generic aircraft. Yeah, it's a Kodiak. That's the code for the aircraft. Okay, we might want to increase the altitude just a little bit here. Otherwise, let's go to 3,000 maybe. Just so I'm not going to hit these hills. Yeah, it's close, but it works. I can see it on the virtual. I've got this nice little, what's it called? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's close, but it works. But what I mean is I have this, it's called synthetic view on my Garmin system, which is nice because then you can basically, you can look ahead and see if you're able to cross a mountain range or not. In this case, it did work. But I think we're going to have to get higher anyway. looking at where we're supposed to be flying. I'm gonna go to 3000, and then let's turn to the right to a heading of, I don't know, let's see, 103 degrees maybe. Yep. So the railroad might be on, no, it's just right up ahead. What's nice is that I can actually see, I'm not sure, do you have, what kind of navigation system do you have on the Baron? Are you using the Garmin version?
She
Okay, so you also have a radar?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Because I can see you on the radar, which is pretty nice. It's helpful. Okay. Yeah, I'm passing on the right side as well. Very closely, but I'm running the same track as you are, basically. So what's the next big city? There is a military area here in the vicinity of Postonia. I think we've already crossed the border to what kind of country is it here? Ljubljana. What is that's the capital of which country? Yes, exactly. I seriously don't. Yes, I will ask. Let's ask Two-Tone Murphy. I mean, this guy should know it. He's the tour guide. Hey Murphy, what is the capital of Ljubljana belongs to which country?
The capital of Ljubljana belongs to Slovenia.
Slovenia. Okay. All right. One little use of the AI. So let's turn left here and follow the railroad. I love these little villages down here. It really looks very, very nice. I like to call this virtual tourism because it basically is. It's just flying around and taking a look at things that you, in many cases, probably wouldn't visit in the real world. No problem. I have a noise filter. Yes, absolutely. That's one other reason to do it. The DC-6. Oh, you're a pilot then. A commercial one. Okay, that's cool. But looking at the fact that you flew a DC-6, Oh, not in real life. Okay.
How can you do that?
What?
That's what I'm talking about. Because you fly less than
I see. I see what you mean. Yes, but you do. Well, are you a pilot? A real life pilot?
I used to be, yeah.
Okay, excellent. What kind of planes did you fly?
737, 737,
Okay. Oh my dear, you're one of the you belong to the big leagues.
I think 701, 72 as well.
Yeah, sure. You at least at the bare minimum you should have flown that at the beginning of your training, basically. Small planes, but you outgrew the plane, really.
Um, yeah. I'm trying to get to Sweden again. October now.
You're at my 6, 7 o'clock, something like that. I thought so, looking at the radar. No, you're not.
You're 2.5 miles ahead of me. You need to
Okay,
change it.
no problem. I can slow down a little.
Thank you so much.
I will zoom out my map because then I can see you on the radar. There we go. Yeah, the only thing that I did was flying gliders when I was much younger. I actually learned at a little airport. I learned to fly gliders at a little airport in the Alps, in a city which is called Unterwössen, and they have a glider school there. And it was pretty scary at the beginning because it did the airfield is situated in a valley between pretty high mountains, and then you've got all kinds of wind situations and all that, and thermals and downdrafts and updrafts, and I got thrown in the cold water really here. With my first solo flight was pretty scary because we've had really difficult. I'm not sure what it's called in English. Shear winds, the winds that come down from the mountains, and then you're going to have to deal with crosswind and all that, and that in a glider that's so small and lightweight. And I did well, but it was stressful, and I sweated a lot.
I can imagine. I would dare do something like that.
I didn't really have I did have a choice, of course, with the school, but at that day I didn't. I just wanted to get it over with, and I wanted to have my certificate. So it was good. It was okay. I didn't fail. I didn't crash. So I was happy.
And you do that for a hobby?
I used to when I was a lot younger, but life got in the way.
You're taking exams, of course, for solo flights, sweating all over the place. But you call that a hobby?
Yes, I do. Well, it was. I always wanted to be a pilot. Unfortunately, my eyes are not good enough to be a commercial pilot. And the next best thing that I could afford to do was gliders, but then life kind of got in the way, and I wasn't able to pursue a proper career as a glider pilot anymore. But sometimes I think that I should have tried to pursue this a little more aggressively. But on the other hand, I founded a family, I moved away, and all that. So sometimes life just goes different ways. And flying in a simulator is also pretty nice. So it's not the same, but it's good enough for me right now. Logatec. Logatec? Logatec. Borovnica and Ljubljana. It looks like Italy here. No, unfortunately, these guys down here, they do not have the same colorful houses. It looks pretty plain. Let's go back to Italy. But they do have a highway here. Okay, so there is the. I'm gonna have to send her. Do you do you know Little Nav Map? Are you using it occasionally? Okay. No, well, it's probably one. I think it's one of the coolest pieces of software I've ever used. For one single reason, the guy who creates this, who has been programming this for years and years, he doesn't ask for money. This is that's the best.
At our 2 o'clock,
Oh,
about
man.
2 kilometers away, we
Now
can
he's
see the
talking.
Simplon Airsoft area. This recreational space is nestled in the beautiful landscape of Slovenia, surrounded by lush greenery and hills.
He's talking about software, soft air arenas, and all that. Of all the things that you can talk about a country like this, he's talking about software, soft air. What was I gonna say? I forgot it. Oh yes, it's not only because it's free, because the guy, I actually at some point I donated to him, and he wrote a personal email. I'm not sure what this guy is from some other planet. I'm not sure. He's such a nice person, and he gives all of this away for free. I'm not sure what's wrong with his with his brain, but the world is desperately lacking more people like him, really, because that is just, it's a fantastic piece of software. There's so much in this, and it does such a great job of supporting sim flying. It's just awesome. I'm lacking the words here, and I'm actually using the database of Little Nav Map for my own purposes, because I have some kind of random flight generator, and I can use the data from the Little Nav Map to do that, and it's awesome, really. Absolutely, it's complicated. I agree. But once you get the hang of it, there are quite a lot of things, quite a lot of features that I don't actually use in the software, because I mean, most of them are not necessary if you just want to do some VFR flying, and some exploration. But if you're doing if you're flying the big commercial airliners and doing IFR and all that, it basically can do everything that's necessary. And when it comes to flight plans, when it comes to making sure that you don't hit a mountain with all the map options that you get, it's awesome. It's just incredible what one guy has created here. Mm-hmm. You mean because of the magnetic big? Oh, I see. Okay. So does it work? That's what I mean. Okay. So it basically, what did it do? What did it do? Did it just it miscalculated? Did it turn around or something like that? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then reaching North Pole, it should turn up to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
go south again.
Mm-hmm.
Hits North Pole, but then puts a right turn, tries to turbo back to the North Pole, and then just keeps circling the North Pole.
Okay.
So then he gets failures
And the GPS system or something like that?
up here it says the calculations get more and more and more.
Okay, I see. Mm-hmm.
And so it's getting worse every time you see the North Pole.
Okay.
Keep flying, but you get occasionally.
It kind of gets lost simply due to miscalculations. Okay. Well, I mean, since you've been a pilot yourself, does it? What do real navigation systems do with that? Does that happen as well? Do you have to interfere or do some manual input?
This is what the designers
Okay, I see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, I see.
normally when you start with North, you can also do tricky navigation,
Mm-hmm.
which is flat lane instead of steer.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you don't have the troubles
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but that's internal. You don't have to deal with that. Just calculates the right course.
Okay. As a pilot, you can just rely on the system to do what's right.
Just push a button and
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's how it should be. You've got enough to worry about as a pilot.
probably not.
Yeah, I mean, there are other things that you need to take care of, or things that you should. There are things that you should not worry about, which is a navigation system that runs AMOC. So there are other things that you need to take care of, and it should not be a software problem. That's what I mean.
We had that on hand with the 2000
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
but it was uncertain what the aircraft computers were going to do it just then in the first 2000.
Yeah, I see. There's a lot of software. There were a lot of software components in all kinds of businesses where people were afraid what would happen.
In most cases it turned out nothing happened.
Okay. Well, that's good.
We had one flight in the air between the US and Europe, but they didn't have any problems.
Okay. That's good. Otherwise, it might have been catastrophic. Well, it depends on what kind of systems depend on this, but I mean, it's a matter of date and time, maybe. But the essential systems wouldn't have been bothered by this, I guess, right? Because I mean, we're talking about time and
The craft is going to fall out of the air.
exactly.
They made these navigation systems,
Okay.
flight management systems.
Hmm.
They need like an alternative. But it wasn't necessary.
Okay. That's like 25 years ago. So I presume you're not the youngest anymore either. I mean, I'm probably a little bit younger than you are, but it's funny because many of the guys that I meet during in these group flights, sim flight stuff, many of these guys are older. They're not the typical gamer dude, like 20 years or even younger than that. Most of them are, or many of them are retired or something, somewhere in their 30s or 40s, and it's a much more mature audience, really,
So true.
and that's pretty nice as well.
I'm
60, so I'm 47. You're ahead of me a little. But then you're retired as a pilot, I guess, or are you still flying?
I regarded that during my COVID.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I see.
It was stopped. It was taken well. So I decided that 56 was nice. I was 16
Yes, I guess.
so now I spend time over hobbies and
Mm-hmm. Let me take a look. I'm following the. No, I'm not taking a shortcut. I'm following the route. I'm flying along the railroad here. Hello there, Ezra. I'm just talking to the other guy on the chat. No, don't be alarmed. The stream is going very well. Thank you for asking. I think I'm flying. I'm doing the. I'm flying along the route here. I'm not doing any shortcuts. I'm not cheating. And the railroad is following the river here. Mm-hmm. And I think it might actually be a very nice. If you're driving, if you're a passenger on this train, this might be an actually pretty nice route, because I mean, following rivers and going through these valleys, this might be a very nice view. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes it's not easy to make out what is railroad, what is railroad and what is road, but usually you can kind of determine, because on the regular roads there are cars driving. I have road traffic turned on, and then I can see that on the railroad tracks there are no cars. You know what we could actually do is fly very low and follow the river, because that's fun as well sometimes. And fly manually here. And yes, exactly. And just try to snake our way through the canyon here. Yes, please. We can actually follow the river quite a while. I think that the railroad is following the river for at least a couple of miles. And it's going to turn right at some point, I think. Let's zoom in a little. Yes. No, it's going to follow the river for quite some time. That's nice. Oh, dude, I'm going to go lower. It's all right. There we go. Better? I mean, I don't want to crash into the mountain here. This is not a biplane here. This is not a Stairman or Pit Special. This is a Kodiak. This is. Huh? Mm-hmm. You had to climb a little. I think you're flying a little bit faster here than I am. I'm doing 135. This is manageable. Now the question is, where the heck does the railroad go? Yes, it goes along the river. It continues to follow the river. Oh, the river looks. The river looks actually very nice here. Mm-hmm. There's a bridge. I'm not going to fly under it. What the heck is that? That seems to be some kind of chimney, right? Okay. I won't. The Kodiak does quite well, considering that it's not exactly an aerobatics plane, but it can do. It's quite nimble. Well, it's got 2 engines. It is heavy, I guess. Or heavier, at least, than the Kodiak. So let's take a quick. Yeah, we're still good. I wanted to take a look at the map. Every second that you do not look outside of the windshield is a second where you can crash this thing into a hill. So I need to be very cautious. Yes, that was me. Did I crash because of that? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
But yes, I do like to adjust it. I think it's funny. And the Kodiak has such a nice touch display for doing that. Not that I can actually touch the display, but it's nice that it has a touch display. So the end of the valley run. Is there a ship? No, that's a bridge. One of the things that I used to like doing was flying under bridges. The problem with that in the current generation of the flight simulators is the fact that they are using photogrammetry, and photogrammetry creates solid objects. So even if it looks like you're flying under the bridge, you can. Sometimes it happens that you hit invisible walls because there's still some kind of 3D model, basically, I guess, and you're hitting it, although you can't see it. It did happen, for example, when I tried to fly under the Golden Gate Bridge once, and I hit a solid wall, although there was none. So that was a little bit annoying. Yes, that's true. Yes, that's true. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This morning I bought
Mm-hmm.
to drive around on.
Yes.
It's a nice thing to drive around. I found that when you drive to this area, you got past under the street
Okay.
because there's a solid area around it.
Mm-hmm. I see. Okay.
Drive fast enough to have the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of aircraft, of course.
Yes, it is. And they does it have? I think there are also paid add-ons on the marketplace for this, and okay, so maybe it's exactly that the one that I was seeing the other day. It's not that expensive, and it is supposed to have its own physics engine. Is that true? Okay. So, I mean, the world is not meant for driving on the round, of course, but the idea basically is nice, because in some areas I think you can actually, like drive on highways or something. That might be fun.
But you can drive around on like sunny areas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's nice for them.
Well, it's a flight sim, Yeah. Yeah, but
It's nice if you can get around more easily than just walking around.
that's true. Yes. It might.
There's some option to maybe take somewhere around the house and get into the car. It's good.
That's true. Yeah. You could. What? Maybe you had. Some kind of. Let's call it a GTA for. A GTA version of flight simulation, where you can step out of your plane and walk somewhere else. It's actually happening, I think, in the what's it called? Do you happen to know the Wing Commander series of games?
I know of it, but
Yeah, but then you know that you might know that there is some guy, I think his name is Chris Roberts. He's trying to create a universe with so much detail that you can step out of a space craft and get into another one, walk on space stations and stuff like that. So that would be nice to have in a flight simulation setting. That would be pretty awesome. Star Citizen, exactly. That's the kind of universe that I'm talking about. I've never tried it myself, but I have read some articles about that, and I mean it's a pretty ambitious project, really. But I like the idea behind it.
I did buy a spacecraft years ago. Still not doing it.
Still,
Very good.
okay. Okay. They took home about almost $1 billion. They should be able to create a finished product by now. I mean, it's yeah, like 800 million, I think. They're at 800 million right now. That's the amount of money they have collected from.
Quite hard to believe that's for the game. That's a lot of money. But,
Absolutely. There were obviously there were like I think in the beginning they used something like Kickstarter, and later on they used their own system for the crowdfunding stuff. But I think that there are many crazy people out there who would invest quite a lot of money, because I mean the idea of this entire universe is pretty appealing, even to me. But I'm not going to spend money on a platform that I have no clue is ever going to be a production ready software. So not yet, at least.
I think you can say that doubtful if it's ever going to be
Hmm.
there.
Unfortunately, I
It is exciting to see how it gets along.
yeah,
It's exciting to see
the progress that's being made. Hmm.
it is still in it.
Yeah.
Microsoft is going to send that out of the spaceship, and it's still like the
GTA.
like a role playing game.
Yes. Okay. I see. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you have kind of yeah.
quite a bit of
Do you have any kind of, let's say, character progression where you can establish some skills or something like that?
if I remember correctly, I haven't played it for years.
Okay.
But there was an update to all the programs to 6.
No.
So
Oh, dude. Oh, all the time that you put in, it's all gone.
all the money you made and all the
Oh, that would piss me off. I'm sorry. That's one more reason to not use it right now. I mean, this is ridiculous. I understand that at some point you're going to have to make a cut, because if the systems are complex and you need to change the architecture, but I mean, then you're going to have to find a way to make stuff stick. At least the money, some kind of progress. But they're scratching everything. Oh man, that is pretty. That's pretty awkward.
makes people not content.
No, I can understand. It works quite well following the railroad. It's visible all the time, most of the time. Yes, it is. It's exactly below you, so it's difficult for you to see it. I'm always flying either left, a little bit left or right, so that it's easier to spot. But it's nice. So do I. I'm getting the exhaust, the heat of the exhaust right in my face from the Kodiak. It's got exhaust pipes on either side, so.
That's the beauty of
Mm-hmm. That's true. Or you have something like a Grand Caravan, which has a huge exhaust pipe down where you cannot, where it's not going to blow in your face. That's also nice. But the Kodiak is such a lovely plane. I love it. Mm-hmm. It happens. I've seen trees on beaches and on Iceland where there are not supposed to be any trees. The autogen stuff is not always working realistically. Iceland is actually full of trees in the simulator, and that's nothing like real, like in the real world. So this is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even on the, I've spent my honeymoon with my wife on Iceland. We were driving around 4 weeks on the entire island, and there are so many nice places. And for example, these black beaches, because of the lava sand that you get, and some of it looks pretty real in the simulator, but there are also things that are utterly wrong. And one of them is the fact that you have so many trees. There are no trees, almost no trees in Iceland. So, and that's some. No, it wasn't. I can still see many trees on Iceland. I'm not sure if I tried it after a sim update too, but it was only a couple of days when I last was taken. We're doing a flight on Iceland. I'm not sure, but it should be pretty easy to define a certain area on the map which should not have any trees. So maybe they fixed it, maybe not. Okay. Unfortunate. I mean, it's an entire island. You can just say on this particular island there shouldn't be any trees at all. Oh, but maybe it's not that easy. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true. I'm behind you. You can. I'm just following the railroad. I'm just continuing. There were some efforts from the community to enhance the scenery of Iceland, because I mean some of the highland areas they don't look very realistic. I mean, I've not been in the highlands myself, but I've seen all kinds of pictures, of course, because I was interested. And most of the highland area is not the topography does not match. So there were quite a lot of add-ons, small and big ones, for 2020, for the Flight Sim 2020. Unfortunately, you cannot really use that for 2024. But there are community efforts to make it a lot better, and they did. So even also with the airports, because some of the auto-generated or some of the airports that are on Iceland, they're unrealistic because they're too sloped, or they're too short, or they're settled inside an area where you cannot possibly land with any plane except a helicopter, and all that. So there are improvements by the community. Unfortunately, most of them cannot be used right now, in 2024 at least. Yes, of course. But the people, I mean, there's many pilots out there, I think, who do not like 2024 because it's got so many issues still. And if I compare 2020, I still have it on my computer, and sometimes I fly 2020 because I just like how smoothly it runs, how well the airplane works. But unfortunately, there are also many people who like to fly 2024. If it was my choice, I'd still stick with 2020. But then then you just would not have the same kind of audience or as many people as you could have with 2024. Unfortunately, that's one of the mysteries. I'm not sure. It's probably a political or a strategic decision, but it should not really be an issue to have 2020 people and 2024 people fly together, because the world is basically the same. They're still using the same world data on both simulators, because they're both being updated at the same time. So the data is probably the same, but the multiplayer system is separate. That's probably a strategic decision. Exactly. That's true as well, yes. Yeah.
It's not aware of what we're flying. It should be no problem to be flying multiplayer with 2020 or 2024 at the same time.
There are add-ons, actually. There are software products which do exactly that. So they're translating the positions to each of the simulators. If you want to, I think there are even open source projects where people can connect to a network, and then it's even a peer-to-peer network, I think. And then you have then you can see the other guys, even if they're using a different simulator, because it's basically, as you say, it's a matter of position and nothing else. If you there might be something. People in one simulator might be seeing something else, but in the end, it's all a three-dimensional space. And if the guys are at the same spot in this three-dimensional space, then they should be able to see each other. So yes, that should be easy to do, but I think that Microsoft doesn't want that, because they want to sell 2024. So that is not so cool. I understand from a business perspective, but I'm on the other side.
I'm on the other side as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have to adjust the time again, because got to drive again. And at the same time, staying in the air.
Mm-hmm. It's actually fairly easy to follow the railroad, because it's going in a straight line. It doesn't do a lot of turns right now.
In the city we just passed, there were a couple of splits.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure if I was following the right one.
You did. You did choose the right ones.
Still have an agenda line on
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a little nav map running all the time. I don't even use the GPS in here, because obviously it doesn't work because of the bug. But it works quite well with little nav map as well.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try to fly even lower. It might hit a tree at some point, but oh, dude. This doesn't look good here. I would not want to be in that train, because the terrain here that's pretty rough. Lots of bumps.
Oh! I hit some trees.
Oh, dude. Okay. Did you spawn again? Okay. Okay. You turned off the damage stuff. Well, I did. I did because otherwise, I still. Excuse me. Go ahead.
I didn't turn off the damage. Just when you hit the block around the tree. What exactly is that?
Yeah, I mean, what there are different options for damage. I mean, obviously, what I did not turn off is the stress damage to the airframe. But what I did turn off is the collision stuff, because it's even on some airports it happens that I hit something that I should not be hitting, or some trees or some invisible objects, because I don't want to restart every time that I hit something. But there are a couple of other options that I left on, because I don't want to be a total cheat here. Oh, I chose the wrong route. Oh dear, I went wrong. I need to turn right. Yeah, you just keep following me. I know where to go, I hope. Yeah, because there is a it did turn right here, and it's following another highway, I guess. It did split, and then what's the time? Maybe like 20 minutes, and then we'll find ourselves some place to land. So I think is that no, not yet. We should be able to see the railroad pretty soon. Yep, there it is. We're back on track, literally. There we are. Slovenia. No, actually we should. Where is the border? No, it takes a while until we get to the next country. I'm really not familiar with this part of Europe. I've never been there. But we're still over Slovenia, but the next country that we're going to fly to once we cross the border to the next one, I don't remember which one that is. But this is one of my intentions, actually, doing these tours to get to know these areas better, even if I don't go there personally in real life. But it's a nice way to explore and just, not be a complete idiot, not knowing what kind of country this is. That might be okay for the Americans, but not for me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yes, that's an idea. Mm-hmm. It's pretty fragmented. There are so many small countries here, um, and arranged in ways that I just can't remember. I mean, obviously, Italy is pretty easy. Spain is easy. France is easy. Netherlands is pretty easy. Although I always tend to put Belgium into the Netherlands, but you know what I mean. The shapes of these countries are pretty easy to remember, but the ones down here, they are kind of generic. Or I didn't bother to really get to know that, but you know what I mean. It's more difficult. Exactly, even that. Yes, the borders have moved quite a bit. What is this? These massive buildings down here. Some kind of factory, maybe. Sometimes there are quite a lot of buildings that are being generated here where I'm not sure if they belong to the real world or if they're just generated randomly. Obviously, if there are some parts of the world where I can say what works and what doesn't, and you can even go to, like, I don't know, Google Maps and compare, something that I did during other tours, just because out of curiosity to see how the different map systems are, if there are any differences between them, and there are quite some differences between, for example, Bing Maps and Google Maps. And then you can see the shapes on the maps and compare that to what's happening in the simulators, and that's pretty interesting. And in many cases that I would not have expected, the real buildings look pretty similar to what's happening in the simulator. But there are also many times when the shapes of the buildings are in no way plausible at all. So, mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It just, I mean, they must have put in some effort to create these weird buildings. I mean, obviously that's not something that's going to be generated by AI, but they have some standard models that are being put into the landscape, some generic scenery, and these huge, strange buildings that have no place, no business to be where they are, but they're still there, and they look kind of interesting, but they don't really belong there. And I mean, this is weird because I mean, what does a glass pyramid just standing there in the middle of somewhere? It doesn't make sense. Yes, absolutely. But still, I mean, a glass pyramid. We're not in Vegas. The Louvre, does that? But that's an inverted pyramid, right?
It has a dark pyramid.
But isn't it inverted? Inside, I mean, put into the ground. I think it is a pyramid, but I'm not sure. It's been a long time that I was in Paris last time, but I'm not sure. But anyway, it still doesn't look like your average pyramid.
It's just wrong. It's just a
Okay, yeah. Well, and that happens quite a lot. That you have buildings everywhere that don't belong there. But there's one type of building that I remember that that always looks the same, and you can identify each one of them that you fly over, which are the Walmarts in the United States. In every city that I flew over, there's one tour that I did that was flying from coast to coast. It was created after a book, Flight of Passage. And you pass all kinds of big and small cities all over America. And in each of these cities, if they're big enough and they have a Walmart, they all look the same. And I'm not kidding here. It's you can basically identify most of these Walmarts just by looking at the shapes in the simulator. That's pretty awesome somehow. I found that funny.
I was looking at the place to land.
Mm-hmm. Did you find something?
About 4 o'clock. It's the airport of Banja Luka.
Banja Luka. Let me take a look. Yeah, I see it. We can go there.
Do that?
Yes, let's do it. I'm going to put that into my nav system here. I'm going to climb for now, that I don't crash into the into the mountains, into the ground here. I'm going to go to 2,000 feet. We'll see what kind of approaches they have available, or at least in the G1000. It's pretty convenient that you have all these approaches in the system here. Some don't.
Found out
Hmm?
activate.
You didn't find that out yet?
How to activate that.
The approaches?
Yeah.
That's pretty easy, even for a newbie like me. I can show you if you want to. Yeah, I will. So I want to fly heading here, first of all. Oh, come on. I'm turning the bug, and 1,000 times. Come on, please. That is so annoying. Okay, there is a direct to button. Let's see, what is the code? The code is a locator. Oh, you mean you want to cheat with the nearest airports? Oh, what the heck? There's the system says there is none within 200 nautical miles. That is a lie. What the heck? Lima, Quebec, Bravo, Kilo. I'm gonna go the easy route here and put that in. Lima. Where is it? Quebec. God, the map's moving all the time. Bravo. And Kilo. There we go. Banja Luka. Activate. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at the procedures. What kind of... It does have an ILS, actually. Look at that. Runway 16. Select approach, and then we have all kinds of approaches available. But I'm gonna take a visual 16. The weather is nice, and I'll do a straight fly in here. Activate. There we go. And then let's see. No, not procedures. Flight plan. The initial 1900 feet for straight fly-in. Let's put that in. Sometimes there is you usually have the option to use the approach feature of the Garmin system, but for a reason I have not been able to determine, sometimes that just doesn't work. It's not gonna, at least not using the autopilot, which is, I mean, it's nice if you're able to do that. Why does it not work here? I'm still getting confused by all these different modes on the quadrant. Vertical speed. Go down, please. I want to go down. There we go. Okay, that works. So you can basically, I'm not really, I'm far from in any way being a proper pilot, but there's a nice approach button where which you can hit, and then sometimes it's able to capture the glide slope and just follow and bring you very close to touchdown. So that's nice if it works, but for some reason it doesn't always work. I'm not sure if this is a bug of the airplane or the flight simulator itself. The approach frequency. The ILS frequency, I can take a look. Let me take a look at the information here. That's it. It's not in a little nav map, unfortunately. I'm not sure. Nav 8s. Where are my frequencies? I can only see ATIS. I can see the tower frequency. I can see all kinds of procedures. Oh, I have it. I've got it. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. I have to activate nav here. I'm still flying in the wrong mode. There we go. But still a couple miles away. 20 miles. Oh, it's actually showing up on Say Intentions, the Banja Luka International. They do have a tower, they do have a departure frequency, ATIS, they have everything that you need. And there's also a SkyOps frequency. I could do missions out of this place. Some kind of freight deliveries or rescue missions, whatever you want.
Reminds me too much of work.
That's true. No, we're here to have fun. But for people who have not been flying professionally, that's an entirely different thing. They pretend to be pilots, so they have a different perspective.
I think it's important for Microsoft's point of view, people interested in bicycles.
Absolutely, yes.
Different ways to do that. The real mode doesn't really think to me. I can imagine that people want it.
Mm-hmm.
Basically,
Yeah. But the career mode is so far from reality that it doesn't make any sense. It's so, first of all, it's bugged like hell, and it's also so unnatural and so it's I'm not sure how to explain this, but it's just so far from anything that real pilots do that it's pretty ridiculous. I don't.
it is, you have to do exactly as
Yeah.
Microsoft expects you to try. And I did try to get a, I did try to take the first flying lessons in
Mm-hmm.
Istanbul.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I just can't fly.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The thing is that even in there I tried a couple of different missions. There's all kinds of different tasks that you can perform. For example, something like skydiving and all that. But first of all, the routes that you're supposed to fly, you're given some directions where to go, and then you have these. I'm not sure what I should call it. You can have that in the Garmin system, like these huge rectangles where you can fly through some directions, but you get these nav aids, you get them in the air in the simulator, and it's completely different from where you're actually supposed to fly, looking at the flight plan, and so you desperately have to stick to these rectangles to fly through. And it doesn't make any sense. It's just not. It's silly, really. I don't like it. Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's even worse if you're a real pilot. It's worse enough for me, who has just a hint of an idea what being a pilot means, versus people like you who have been flying professionally, and then you need to deal with this kind of nonsense, and it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's okay for your Xbox player who just wants to fly and he's got a controller which is different. Of course, it's a lot less realistic, and it's all simplified and all that. So they're kind of trying to cater to different audiences, but it's not for me. The career mode is nothing that I can relate to. And then you have these silly AI generated voices. They're so bad. If I was trying one of those skydiving missions, and then you have these people sitting in the back of your airplane, and they start to talk, and it sounds so utterly artificial, with no real enthusiasm. I mean, and the texts are silly. The stuff that they're talking is so stupid, and they could put in some effort here, really. I mean, it's not that difficult to make it sound believable, because the voice technology is there already. It is. We know that. And even some of the text could be, they're all generated by some generative AI, I guess, and they could have at least put in the effort and write some believable texts, not this nonsense.
A bit like the Google Translate.
Exactly. Yep,
Take us to the runway.
that's nice. It's good to be able to see the runway. Yes, I can see it as well. I think right there.
99%. Yeah.
Hmm.
Looks good, yeah.
Yes, I do though. I do think so as well. Oh, I need to activate the climate controller here because it's 34 degrees Celsius inside the cockpit. That is just a little bit too much here.
With my graduate degrees, simulate failure.
Oh,
I switched it off. Concentrate on
uh huh.
I switched it off. I thought, then I got surprised. For three flights, I only had a VOC phase
Mm-hmm.
with air of about 500 degrees Celsius, so
500 degrees. Okay.
500 degrees.
What the heck? I will try to hit it pretty soon. Now we're close to the glide slope here. The diamond is in the center. I'm going to hit it. Yes, it did capture. So I can relax, sit back. Not until the very last couple of last couple of 100 yards. But I could do it. I'm able to. I hope. I think so. I'm going to slow down a little here. Flaps 10. I have an approach speed of 110 usually, and touchdown speed is between 70 and 75 in the Kodiak. I think the Baron is a little. You're going to have to be a little faster, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Got a little bit of tailwind here, but not too much. Autopilot off. I have turned off the wake turbulence. Otherwise, I should probably. Nah, well, you're not that big of a plane, but should be no issue really. But a 747, I don't know, might be a little bit more interesting. Did you just Leave the runway? You just left the runway with no taxiway. What are you doing? You're cheating. There we go. So that was very nice. Very good flight. Let's see. I'm going to do some final picture here and put it on the Discord. What's it called? The channel. I've got a screenshot channel. Sometimes we put in some nice pictures there from our flights. So, thank you so much for joining. That was a very, very nice flight. Are you? Is that something that you like to do? Would you like to join more flights like this? Sometimes. Mm-hmm. Hmm. I understand.
I'd say I'll be around next time.
No big deal. No big deal.
I like it very much. Thank you for having me. And maybe, yes, see you next time.
Yes, that would be very awesome. So, I guess have a good night, and have a nice day tomorrow. And
Finish my dinner.
it's pretty late for a dinner, like 11 p.m. Okay.
It's cold already, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
Take care. You too.
Let me see how to get out of. Where's my mouse pointer? Oh. And left map can go, and then which tab is the.
There is you can hit the big X button on the top right of the window. So, take care, have a good night, and I'll see you soon, I guess.
Okay, see you.
Bye bye. So, same goes for the viewers of the stream. Take care and have a good night. Bye bye.